Why things are changing so fast. Don't know what to do, don't know what to say. Got so many questions to ask. From pillar to post, from coast to coast, confusion all across the land. A hidden word is what I'd like to say, but tell me, would you listen, my friend? And I'm so glad I know about the blessed beauty. So glad I know about the blessed beauty. I just want to praise his name. So much depression, so much aggression. What's real? Who can you trust? Is the purpose of life all struggle and strife? Does it end in ashes and dust? God really cares, he hears your prayers. If you'd only take time to pray. If you can't find the words, you can still be heard. He knows what you're trying to say. And I'm so glad I know about the blessed beauty. So glad I know about the blessed beauty. I just want to praise his name. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Things are a little crazy right now, and I'm going to explain to you why. Hang on. If you've joined us in recent weeks, I'm sure you know. Hang on, for some reason I know why my mouse isn't working. But good morning. I've got to use the mouse on the laptop here. And good morning, everyone in Facebook land. There we go. As you can see, I am not at the center. If you've been joining us in recent weeks, you know that for the past month or so, maybe just a little more than that, we had moved to the Baha'i Center in Clearwater. Daryl and myself and Jeremiah and Pete working in the background and so forth. But guess what? We have a tropical storm. It is happening even as we speak. And you know how these things go. Well, let me say, if you know how these things go, then you know that they're very unpredictable as far as just how bad the weather is going to be and so forth and so on. So we had originally decided, as far as going to the center that we usually, again, come to you from, that because some people have to drive so far, be better not to do that. We were just not going to have the devotion today. But and kind of the last minute, hey, Amaze, how you doing? There's my sister in Facebook. Kind of the last minute, we decided, well, we should do something. The thing is, especially for Zoom, we ended up with all of the equipment to try and make the sound good and everything is at the center. So if the sound for you in Zoom, or if you see this later on YouTube, it's very thin and probably unbalanced. The reason is because it's just me and my laptop, and that's it. One thing I like about Facebook is that, I don't know what they do on their end, but whatever you hear is really what's happening. But when you have millions or even billions of dollars to handle that, to do things, well, you can do it that way. One moment. On our way to North Carolina, listening to you on the ride. That's my sister Amaze, they're driving to North Carolina. So we're going to go ahead and just have a general devotion. We are not going to be reading from our regular book as we normally do. Daryl is hunkered down safely at home. And so hopefully we'll be able to pick that up next week. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and start with a prayer. And as I've said, we're going to have a general devotion. And that means that anyone who wants to join with a prayer or a song or one of your favorite passages, then please do feel free to do so. Let me make a little adjustment here. my view. Where's view? There it is. Okay. Yuda says the sound is good. Oh, well, thank you, Yuda. I'm glad you said that. Thank you very much for the feedback. I appreciate it. So let me go ahead and, oh, I love this. Here's a prayer from Baha'u'llah, and it's a prayer for spiritual growth. Create in me a pure heart, O my God, and renew a tranquil conscience within me, O my hope. Through the Spirit of power, confirm thou me in thy cause, O my best beloved. And by the light of thy glory, reveal unto me thy path, O thou the goal of my desire. Through the power of thy transcendent might, lift me up unto the heaven of thy holiness, O source of my being. And by the breezes of thine eternity, gladden me, O thou who art my God. Let thine everlasting melodies breathe tranquility on me, O my companion. And let the riches of thine ancient countenance deliver me from all except thee, O my master. And let the tidings of the revelation of thine incorruptible essence bring me joy, O thou who art the most manifest of the manifest, and the most hidden of the hidden. And once again, this is a prayer from Baha'u'llah. And I didn't say good morning. I know I said a general good morning to the folks in Zoom, but I always like to call them by name. If we had 3 or 4 pages of people that we had to go through with the Zoom frames, probably couldn't do that, but we can now. So good morning, Yuda and Vicky and Hushang and Pamela. Pamela usually joins us through Facebook, but good morning, Pamela. And good morning, Gilbert. And Jeremiah is out there in the clouds. His icon is a beautiful sky of the sun coming through the clouds. So good morning, Jeremiah. And once again, good morning, Amazing, and anyone out there and who happens to see this later on through Facebook or YouTube. But as I said, we are going to have a general devotion, and I got to tell you, when it comes for anyone who is not familiar with how Baha'is handle devotion, if you've joined us before, you know that we don't have ministers, so there's not always a designated. There is no one who has special authority, shall we say, to lead our devotions. It is often a shared experience of people just at random when they feel moved to share a prayer or again a reading or even a song if they so choose. And so that's what we're doing this morning. But I do want to still point out that when things get back to normal, we will be going back to reading from Baha'u'llah and the New Era. I'm going to hold this up for the Facebook people. And so there you go, Baha'u'llah and the New Era, and by J.E. Esselmont. And if you don't have this book, but you want to get the content of the book, you can access this 100% free by going to, if on your phone, there is an app that you can download or install, shall we say, and it's called Oceans 2.0. Oceans 2.0. There is regular, I guess I'll call it a laptop version that you can, that's not the right word. You can access it online. I can't remember the website. It's Ocean something, something, something. Someone in Zoom, if you can remember what that website is, I know it is Ocean something. It's not Ocean 2.0. Did someone put oceanlibrary.com? Thank you so much, Jeremiah. It's called oceanlibrary.com. And the good thing about oceanlibrary.com or Ocean 2.0, if you get it on your phone, is you have access to a library, a global library, shall we say, of spiritually based literature from all of the major faiths, and not just, again, the books that faith is founded upon. It's also books written by other authors that that write in association to particular faiths, just as this particular book, Baha'u'llah and the New Era, is for the Baha'i faith. And there are other books there that are pretty much like that as well. So I wanted to point that out. But now we're going to go ahead and move on. Good morning, Terry. Glad you're here. We have our tropical storm. I don't know, has it become a hurricane now? It has not yet become a hurricane.
It's forecast to possibly be a level 2 hurricane by the time it does landfall Monday.
Oh, I see, by Monday, okay. It looks like it might become, or it will become a hurricane by Monday. But right now, we're hunkered down in our homes. I mean, again, when it's at the level of a tropical storm, frankly, at least we here on the Sun Coast, it's just another rainy day. Maybe a very rainy day, but another rainy day, and people are still going about doing what they do. Once it hits hurricane status, though, it might change. So let's go ahead and good morning. Who is this? Renee's with us. Hey, Renee, my singing buddy. Good morning, Renee. Let's go ahead and if someone would like to offer up a prayer at this time, please feel free to do so.
I have something which I read this morning from the Kitab Igan,
Please.
and I like to read this to you guys. I swear by God, where he that treadeth the path of guidance and seeketh to scale the heights of righteousness to attain unto this glorious and supreme station, he would inhale at a distance of 1,000 leagues the fragrance of God, and would perceive the resplendent morn of a divine guidance rising above the dayspring of all things. Each and every thing, however small, would be to him a revelation leading him to his beloved, the object of his quest. So great shall be the discernment of this seeker that he will discriminate between truth and falsehood, even as he does distinguish the sun from shadow. If in the uttermost corners of the west the sweet savors of God be wafted, he will assuredly recognize and inhale their fragrance, even though he be dwelling in the uttermost ends of the west. He will likewise clearly distinguish all signs of God, his wondrous utterances, his great works and mighty deeds from the doings, words, and ways of men, even as the jeweler who knows the gem from the stone, or the man who distinguishes the spring from autumn and heat from cold. When the channel of the human soul is cleansed of all worldly and impeding attachments, it will unfailingly perceive the breath of the beloved across immeasurable distances, and will, led by its perfume, attain and enter the city of certitude. Therein he will discern the wonders of his ancient wisdom, and will perceive all the hidden teachings from the rustling leaves of the tree, which flourishes in that city. With both his inner and his outer ear, he will hear from its dust the hymns of glory and praise, ascending unto the Lord of Lords. And with his inner eye, he will discover the mystery of return and revival. How unspeakably glorious are the signs, the tokens, the revelations, and splendors which he who is the King of names and attributes has destined for that city. The attainment of this city quenches thirst without water, and kindles the love of God without fire. Within every blade of grass are enshrined the mysteries of an inscrutable wisdom, and upon every rose bush a myriad nightingales pour out, in blissful rapture, their melody. Its wondrous tulips unfold the mystery of the undying fire in the burning bush, and its sweet savors of holiness breathe the perfume of the messianic spirit. It bestows wealth without gold, and confers immortality without death. In every leaf, ineffable delights are treasured, and within every chamber, unnumbered mysteries lie hidden.
Thank you very much, Yuda. Thank you.
I thought it was an amazing passage to see that in every blade of grass, you can find all the mysteries and wonders of God. I mean, it is just,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. That is a beautiful.
I thought I had to share this with you. Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to share at this time?
Sure, give me a second.
Please, Terry.
My God, the object of my adoration, the goal of my desire, the all bountiful, the most compassionate. All life is of thee, and all power lieth in the grasp of thine omnipotence. Whosoever thou exaltest is raised above the angels, and attaineth to the station. Verily, we uplifted him to a place on high, and whosoever thou dost abase is made lower than dust, nay, less than nothing. O divine providence, though wicked and sinful and intemperate, we still seek from thee a seat of truth, and long to behold the countenance of the omnipotent King. It is thine to command, and all sovereignty belongeth to thee, and the realm of might boweth before thy behest. Everything thou doest is pure justice, nay, the very essence of grace. One gleam from the splendors of thy name, the all-merciful, sufficeth to banish and blot out every trace of sinfulness from the world. And a single breath from the breeze of the day of thy revelation is enough to adorn all mankind with fresh attire. Vouchsafe thy strength, O Almighty One, unto thy weak creatures, and quicken them who are as dead, that haply they may find thee, and may be led into the ocean of thy guidance, and may remain steadfast in thy cause. Should the fragrance of thy praise be shed abroad by any of the diverse tongues of the world, out of the east or out of the west, it would verily be prized and greatly cherished. If such tongues, however, be deprived of that fragrance, they assuredly would be unworthy of any mention in word or yet in thought. We beg of thee, O Providence, to show thy way unto all men and guide them aright. Thou art verily the Almighty, the most powerful, the all-knowing, the all-seeing. And this is from the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf, about page 9 and 10. Anywho.
Thank you very much, Terry. Thank you.
Magnified be thy name, O Lord my God, inasmuch as thou hast inclined mine ear to thy voice, and called me to thyself, and opened mine eyes to gaze on thy beauty, and illumined my heart with thy knowledge, and sanctified my breast from the doubts of the infidels in thy days. I am the one, O my God, who lay fast asleep on his couch, when lo, the messengers of thy manifold mercies were sent down upon me by thee, and the gentle winds of thy loving kindness blew over me and roused me up and caused me to set my face towards the sanctuary of thy knowledge, and to fix mine eyes upon the splendors of the light of thy face. I am but a poor creature. O my Lord, behold me, clinging to the hem of thy riches. I have fled from darkness and from waywardness unto the brightness of the light of thy countenance. Were I, and to this thy glory beareth witness, to render thanksgiving unto thee through the whole continuance of thy kingdom and the duration of the heavens of thy omnipotence, I would still have failed to repay thy manifold bestowals. I implore thee, O my God, I implore thee, O my Lord, by thy name, the ever abiding, and by thy name which thou didst ordain to be most great instrument, binding thee to thy servants, to grant that I may flee for shelter to thy door and speak forth my praise. Write down then for me in every world of thine that which will enable me to enter beneath thy shadow, and within the borders of thy court. Thou art verily the Almighty, the most bountiful, the most exalted, the ever forgiving, the most generous. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Is there anyone else who would like to share at this time? I'm reaching back and forth here trying to make some things happen on my end, and it's not working, so I'm just kind of explaining that to the people on Facebook. I do have something that I want to read at this time. I love how in Gleanings, Baha'u'llah takes great pains over and over again to explain the relationship between God and the manifestations of God and the manifestations of God in mankind. And so I'm going to read two passages, so hopefully this won't go too long. Here, Baha'u'llah first refers to God as the unseen, so I want to point that out. Baha'u'llah says, this is from Gleanings, "Know thou of a certainty that the unseen can in no wise incarnate his essence and reveal it unto man." In other words, God cannot reveal himself actually physically unto man. Know thou of a certainty that the unseen can in no wise incarnate his essence and reveal it unto men. He is and hath ever been immensely exalted beyond all that can he is and hath ever been immensely exalted beyond all that can either be recounted or perceived. I'll read that again. He is and hath ever been immensely exalted beyond all that can either be recounted or perceived. From his retreat of glory, his voice is ever proclaiming, "Verily, I am God. There is none other God besides me, the all-knowing, the all-wise. I have manifested myself unto men and have sent down him who is the daysprings of the signs of my revelation." Okay, so we've just said he can't reveal himself to men, but he says, "I have manifested myself unto men and have sent down him who is the dayspring of the signs of my revelation. Through him I have caused all creation to testify that there is none other God except him, the incomparable, the all-informed, the all-wise. He who is everlastingly hidden from the eyes of men can never be known except through his manifestation. And his manifestation can adduce no greater proof of the truth of his mission than the proof of his own person." And now I'll go ahead and move on to the next passage here, still in Gleanings. I'm going to pick it up a little further down. "The door of the knowledge of the ancient being being a reference to God. The door of the knowledge of the ancient being hath ever been and will continue forever to be closed in the face of men. No man's understanding shall ever gain access unto his holy court. As a token of his mercy, however, and as a proof of his loving kindness, he hath manifested unto men the day stars, plural, the day stars of his divine guidance, the symbols of his divine unity, and hath ordained the knowledge of these sanctified beings to be identical with the knowledge of his own self. Whoso recognizeth them hath recognized God. Whoso hearkeneth to their call hath hearkened to the voice of God, and whoso testifieth to the truth of their revelation hath testified to the truth of God himself." So when you hear people, hear Baha'is talking about the manifestations of God over and over again and using plural and so forth, it is because, just as stated in this passage, all of those sanctified beings have been chosen to manifest, let's say, the reality of God and the will of God to mankind. Now there's not a downside. Here's the flip side. Whoso turneth away from them hath turned away from God. And whoso disbelieveth in them hath disbelieved in God. Every one of them is the way of God that hath connected this world with the realms above. Think about when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Yes, he was referring to that spirit within him. But again, here, and that's an accurate statement, but as pointed out here by Baha'u'llah, every one of them, every one of those manifestations of God, every one of them is the way of God that connected this world with the realms above and the standard of his truth unto everyone in the kingdoms of earth and heaven. They are the manifestations of God amidst men, the evidences of his truth, and the signs of his glory. I can think of no, clearer explanation of, the use of plurals and so forth, and the explanation of the truth that all of these major prophets all come from the same origin and share the same truth. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I have something, Tony, from Gleanings that follows well with what you just read.
Please, Pamela.
The first and foremost duty prescribed unto men, next to the recognition of him who is the eternal truth, is the duty of steadfastness in his cause. Cleave thou unto it, and be of them whose minds are firmly fixed and grounded in God. No act, however meritorious, did or can ever compare unto it. It is the king of all acts, and to this thy Lord, the all-highest, the most powerful, will testify. The virtues and attributes pertaining unto God are all evident and manifest, and have been mentioned and described in all the heavenly books. Among them are trustworthiness, truthfulness, purity of heart, while communing with God, forbearance, resignation to whatever the Almighty hath decreed, contentment with the things his will hath provided, patience, nay, thankfulness in the midst of tribulation, and complete reliance in all circumstances upon him. These rank according to the estimate of God among the highest and most laudable of all acts. All other acts are and will ever remain secondary and subordinate unto them. The spirit that animateth the human heart is the knowledge of God, and its truest adorning is the recognition of the truth that, quote, he doeth whatsoever he willeth, and ordaineth that which he pleaseth, end of quote. It is its raiment is the fear of God, and its perfection steadfastness in his faith. Thus God instructeth whosoever seeketh him. He verily loveth the one that turneth towards him. There is none other God but him, the forgiving, the most bountiful. All praise be to God, the Lord of all worlds. Baha'u'llah from Gleaning CXXXIB.
Sounds like 134.
Oh, you're so good, Tony. I can't remember my Roman numerals.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Well, in keeping with this, not that we have a theme, but the idea of the manifestations of God, and again, I would dare say, one of the greater challenges of explaining to people who are, have never heard of the Baha'i faith or read any of the Baha'i writings, the idea that, again, that all of the manifestations of God come from the same source, from the same origin. it's a challenge to explain. I find it much easier to for those people who will take it upon themselves to actually read, those things that we have read. I think that really helps. I still remember one of the first persons who was one of the first people who taught me the faith. She kept emphasizing, read the writings. Don't depend on my words. Read the writings. And so that's one of the reasons that we read prayers from the faith. Not that we can't say our own prayers, of course we can, but we also often read prayers from that have been revealed by Baha'u'llah and his son Abdu'l-Baha and the Bab, the predecessor to Baha'u'llah. But the idea, once again, of progressive revelation and multiple manifestations of God, when it's new, it can be a bit of a challenge. And so I want to read this explanation, once again from Baha'u'llah, also from Gleanings. This is Gleanings 31, where there's an explanation of progressive revelation coming directly from Baha'u'llah. So I'm going to read that now. It says, contemplate with thine inward eye the chain of successive revelations that have linked the manifestation of Adam with that of the Bab. Yes, Baha'is do. In that whole Adam we see as the first manifestation of God, or a manifestation of God. I shouldn't say the first, but a manifestation of God. Contemplate with thine inward ear the chain of successive revelations that have linked the manifestation of Adam with that of the Bab, Baha'u'llah's predecessor. He says, I testify before God that each one of these manifestations hath been sent down through the operation of the divine will and purpose, that each hath been the bearer of a specific message, and that each hath been entrusted with a divinely revealed book, and been commissioned to unravel the mysteries of a mighty tablet. The measure of the revelation with which every one of them, all these manifestations of God, the measure of the revelation with which every one of them hath been identified, hath been definitely foreordained. Foreordained. They had a mission that was given to them by God, hath definitely been foreordained. This verily is a token of our favor unto them, if ye be of those that comprehend the truth. And when this process of progressive revelation, that's one of those standard terms in the Baha'i faith, progressive revelation, not just one revelation, but a progression of revelations. Those are my words. But to get back to the written word, and when this process of progressive revelation culminated in the stage at which his peerless, his most sacred and exalted countenance was to be unveiled to men's eyes, he chose to hide his own self behind 1,000 veils, lest profane and mortal eyes discover his glory. This he did at a time when the signs and tokens of a divinely appointed revelation were being showered upon him. Signs and tokens which none can reckon except the Lord your God, the Lord of all worlds. And when the set time of concealment was fulfilled, we sent forth, while still wrapped within a myriad veils, an infinitesimal glimmer of the effulgent glory enveloping the face of the youth being a reference to Baha'u'llah. And lo, the entire company of the dwellers of the realms above were seized with violent commotion, and the favorite of God fell down in adoration before him. He hath verily manifested a glory such as none in the whole creation hath witnessed, inasmuch as he hath arisen to proclaim in person his cause unto all who are in the heavens and all who are on the earth. And we can say this about every manifestation of God. And again, that idea of progressive revelation, it clears up and answers so many questions, at least on a personal level, I'll put it that way. I mean, how can we say that this manifestation of God, or this prophet, if you will, is actually from God, and while this one, totally different faith, is actually from God as well? Yes, it is because they are part of a progression of revelations that are all part of one revelation, and that is the constant process of revelation from God through the manifestations of God. And it's important that we point out that because of progressive revelation, this is not the last revelation, the Baha'i revelation, the revelation of Baha'u'llah, not the last. We've been told that this revelation will last at least 1,000 years, but it's not the last one, because progressive revelation is an ongoing process where God has his manifestations of God communicate his will to mankind, which we, of course, are supposed to follow. And each time that new revelation comes, it is fit, shall we say, fit it to the time in which it is revealed. So if you see differences between earlier revelations and the current revelation of Baha'u'llah, that explains it. It is because of the differences in time that those revelations were indeed revealed. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
Yeah, so I'd like to share. For the past month or so, I've been reading Baha'u'llah's tablet to the Christians, and one of the passages that I like the most is this following one. Say, O followers of the Son, have you shut out yourselves from me by reason of my name? Wherefore ponder ye not in your hearts day and night. You have been calling upon your Lord, the omnipotent, but when he came from the heaven of eternity in his great glory, ye turned aside from him and remained in heedlessness. And then the next paragraph, he says, consider those who rejected the Spirit, meaning Jesus Christ, when he came unto them with manifest dominion. How numerous the Pharisees who had secluded themselves in synagogues in his name, lamenting over their separation from him. And yet, when the portals of reunion were flung open and the divine luminary shone resplendent from the dayspring of beauty, they disbelieved in God, the exalted, the mighty. And it's just, Baha'u'llah right there. I mean, he just puts it in explicit detail that, okay, I'm coming to you. See, I come from a Christian background, Roman Catholic and all that. And it's like, hey, Baha'u'llah is saying that, hey, pay attention to me. I come for you.
Yes.
If you turn aside from me, then you are making the same mistake the Pharisees made 2,000 years ago. So do not repeat the same mistake they made. Because if you do, you're going to be in a world of hurt. And Baha'u'llah is being rather blunt about it. I mean,
Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you. It's again, that thread of, I don't know, of that united message, shall we say, where each manifestation of God is telling the people of the day, of their day, you really need to listen, and yet they each still, come against those challenges, have those challenges that come to them, I should say, challenges against them, from often people in power. Often people in power that, that have power in their society. Sometimes it's the clergy, sometimes it's government officials and so forth. Is there anyone else who'd like to share? Well, I have, being an educator myself, this is kind of a detour from what we have been discussing. And this, again, like the others, is not a prayer, but a reading. And this is where Baha'u'llah, only one place, he does this in multiple places, where he actually points out the importance of education. I mean, who would deny that it is important that for, let's say, the highest quality of life, that we be educated? I shouldn't even put it that way, but let's just say education. We'll leave it at that. And yet, here it is coming from a manifestation of God, pointing out the importance of education. It's one of my favorite passages, and I'm going to read this. This is from Gleanings. This is Gleanings 122. He says, man is the supreme talisman. Now, If you don't know what a talisman is, don't want to insult anyone else's intelligence. But he says man is a supreme talisman, and a talisman is an object that's thought to have magic powers and bring good luck. An object that's thought to have magic powers and bring good luck. And Baha'u'llah says, man is the supreme talisman. Lack of proper education, however, hath deprived him of that which he doth inherently possess. Lack of a proper education hath, however, I mixed up two words there, but lack of a proper education hath, however, deprived him of that which he doth inherently possess. Through a word proceeding out of the mouth of God, he was called into being. Man, he was called into being. By one word more, he was guided to recognize the source of his education. By yet another word, his station and destiny were safeguarded. The great being saith, the great being being a reference to God, the great being saith, regard man as a mine, M-I-N-E, regard man as a mine, rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can alone cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom. And I look at this in the context of, let's say history where certain ruling powers have deprived various societies or members of society of being educated, of an attempt, of even a chance to be educated. And here we have in spiritual writings a statement from the manifestation of God saying, speaking to the importance of education. To me, we all know from a practical standpoint, education is important. But when it gains support from a spiritual source, to me, that goes so much farther than just for, again, material gain. We know that, if you have a good education, that increases, at least in our society, increases your earning capabilities and so forth.
What happened? Did you freeze up?
Yeah, it looks like he froze. So if someone else has any prayers or devotions, otherwise we could probably, if he doesn't jump back on next minute, we could probably close out.
Okay, let me see if I can find something real quick.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Please
coming.
stand by
and
for
doing
technical
this.
difficulties. Oh my God, my Lord and my Master, I have detached myself from my kindred and have sought through thee to become independent of all that dwell on earth and ever ready to receive that which is praiseworthy in thy sight. Bestow upon me such good as will make me independent of aught else but thee, and grant me an ampler share of thy boundless favors. Verily, thou art the Lord of grace abounding. That's from the Bob. I wonder if he has a thunderstorm over by his house.
Yeah, the weather's coming back through. So can we have one more prayer? And then we'll go ahead and close out.
Is there any remover of difficulties save God? Is there any remover of difficulties save God? Say, praise be God, he is God. All are his servants and all abide. All are his servants and all abide. All are his servants and all abide by his bidding. That's for all those who might be in the path of the storm.
Thank you. Good night. Have a great day, everyone.